Alright guys, hola, bienvenidos, welcome and welcome back. Excuse the roosters, they're very active in the mornings, but I'm going to prep this walk-in box evaporator, and then we're going to get to the job site, put it in, all the good stuff. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Alright, so like I said, we're going to prep it. We got to put the TXV in. The line set at the job already has a solenoid that we replaced. New condenser, all that. I'll explain everything on the drive over there. Right now I just want to get everything prepped so I can meet the guys and they can help me remove the old one, set in the new one, and go from there. But I'd rather do this at my place before I get there so I don't have to be in the parking lot, you know, all that stuff. And then just make it an easy process, right? Make it easier, work smarter, not harder. All right guys, so everything here, we have our nozzles. Don't forget, they usually come in there in the side. We have our TXV here. So this is a 404 system. All we're gonna do is put this in here. Yeah, hopefully they gave us the right one because I've had that issue before. So that goes installed there. We're gonna have to bend this out to meet it, the external equalizer, and then straight shot it out the bottom actually. So gonna have to curve this one in, curve this line out, and we'll be good. This is all copper, so I ain't gotta worry about nothing special. We're gonna use our normal oxyacetylene. We're gonna have to remove the Schrader so I can purge, cut out the lines right here, and then here obviously, and then put it in. Like I said, we're not using a solenoid in here. All I need to do when we get there is mount a thermostat. Okay, I thought I was tripping. Usually there's a chart here that tells you what nozzle you're going to use, because they usually give you a few different ones, right? This is just for even distribution flow for, you know, all the distributor feeds, the little cap tubes. But I'm just going to go by, quality control, right? I'm just going to go by a previous one that I've done. It's 404. This is what I've used before. I will say I have been on jobs where people forget to put them in. Doesn't affect it too much, but like I said, it's just for even flow, distribution, all that. So I'm going to put my nozzle in, and then little locking clip. Get that clip seated all the way in. It is so hard to tell, but there is supposed to be like a little lip in there. Once the clip goes far enough, it just like kind of seats in there. But I think we're good. What I'm trying to do is bend the pipe, like both pieces of pipe, right? Usually it helps when you have two. Bend your line set further than you want it to be. So I bent it up a little bit more, and then this one I bent it down a little bit more, the distributor. That way when I quickly pop it in, it tries to put pressure in the opposite direction. So that's usually how I do things. That way I don't need anything to prop to hold it. The lines are holding it. I'll solder in one side, then the other, and we'll be fine. Alright guys, so this one's a little different. I forgot we don't have a solenoid to put in here. Normally you gotta put a solenoid and then it'd be a straight shot out kind of, but it's basically the same thing because no matter what, I gotta get from point A to point B right here, which is a little bit bent out, but so it's just straight shot, elbow up, elbow out, one piece. I don't like coupling, so I already have this one that's kind of bent to do this right here, and then we're gonna go out. I'll mark it right here as to how high I have. Don't want to interfere with any of the ports, and right here's a really good space to come out, so we're just gonna zigzag out of here. Alright, so I cut the piece there. Essentially, you can tell it's going to overlap quite a bit. I do want it to come out a lot because we are going to press the line set that's already there in. If anything, I'll just cut the line set back a little bit more. But I wanted it to have a good stub, basically, to where I can, you know, have more than I need versus being too short. So we're gonna make, with this old school bender, our bend. So yeah. if I did it right. Just gonna make this side a little more angled. All right, so barely, right? But we got it. If anything, I might make adjustments once I braze this in and pull it down a little bit, but we are right where we need to be. And I do my last brazing joint, and we can be done with this part. Damn, I forgot to hit record on that one. I laid down the solder, and with this twin tip, I kind of pulled it. You can't be too close. That's something a lot of guys do with any tip. You can't be too close. This one gives off a nice, you know, once the flames touch, it's a pretty decent flame. So I laid some solder on the top, you know, had it far away. And then once it got hot enough, you know, obviously get the solder to move around, swing it back and forth. But with this one, I can go like over the joint and back, and it kind of goes all the way around, pretty effortless, without any issue. And you just do that, swipe it around a few times, and it's completely wrapped around. As you can kind of tell, pretty good joints. And now I gotta go because I'm running late. This is why I don't usually film these things, is there's gonna be people waiting on me, so I gotta get out of here. This is already prepped and ready to put in. Alright guys, just a quick, like I said, I'd explain what's going on. There's a walk-in box. It's at a hospital, so the whole point of me prepping it is so I don't have to use an open flame, torches at a hospital, because they make a big deal about it. They don't like it. So there's permits, there's fire watch, there's like all this stuff. What we're gonna do is change out only the evaporator, because at one point, and it's because of different management, different changes, budgets, like all this stuff, they only wanted what they needed. So we swapped out basically 4 condensers already, and 2 of the evaporators for the freezers are really good. We don't need to change those out. They're in mint condition basically. They are older, but for whatever reason, those freezers are awesome. They get -10 all the time. There's no issue. It would actually be a pain in the ass for us to kind of shut their freezers down and do all that. So the freezers don't need it. We did change out 1 full walk-in box on one side. So this other one had the condenser changed out. They wanted to wait for budget reasons and other reasons to change that evaporator coil out. So I prepped everything here where we can put it in place, and then I'm going to use my press tool to press in the line set. So we're reusing the line set there. Again, it's a hospital. There's way too much hassle with changing out line sets, going crazy with it. Like, we don't want to do that. So changing out the evaporator coil, line sets are staying there. The solenoid is already installed, that we changed out because it's located outdoors. So the solenoid's already changed out. Like I said, the condenser's brand new, has new refrigerant. What we're probably gonna do is just pump it down at the condenser. I know we're opening the system, but like I said, it's a new condenser, new filter, dryer, all that. So it is what it is. The dryer's in the condenser. I'd rather just pump it down at the at the 2 service valves outside, press it in. We're not going to do anything except open it to atmosphere, but we're going to do our vacuum, pull it down real nice, clear it out, pull it down, make sure we do our best not to introduce anything, and we should be fine. This is a real world scenario. I'm not, you know, can't do everything all the time. I can't put in new line sets all the time. Can't change out, or like I said, the dryer is technically new. It's been put in recently. So press, best scenario there is that the hardest part is going to be taking down and putting up the new one. Press it in, vacuum it, and then open the valves to let our refrigerant out. We might have to top it off because that evaporator coil had a lot of issues, and one of them being micro leaks. So we'll just make sure we top it off, anything like that, and then they should be good to go. There's other reasons why they needed that coil. It's like micro leaks, the mechanical thermostat, the fans are messed up, the blades are messed up. Like, I think the coil was starting to go too, so like the fins. So why put so much money into it when you can just replace it? It is what it is. It's an old one. Best thing for them is to replace it. Now they have a whole new system. So see what I can record. Like I said, I'm running late. That's why I don't like to record these, because people are waiting on me. So when I do change outs or new installs or anything like that, it's very hard to record. I usually have a couple guys that help me out, and I'm running like 20 minutes late. So let's go get it done. All right, so here's our unit. I gotta pump it down at the valves, and then see if we can get everything in the receiver over here. All right, for giggles, I wanted to try the new Elitech. I actually got this at the AHR Expo, so kind of a benefit if you guys go. They give out things here and there, and they were literally just handing them to everybody. So we got this. I did have to let out like 20 some psi because the compressor is overheating, but that's because of the way that I have the pressure control to accommodate for the bad coil inside, the bad airflow, all that. I was having to run that a little sketchy, but we're good to go now. We're just gonna cut the lines inside and get to replacing that thing. My old man, I swear. So my pops is doing a call right now. He has a dishwasher, he said. I have to leave. I have to go pick up my kid. I got a few other things to get as far as parts and things. And just for you guys that are wondering about him and stuff, apparently he can drive himself around now. I didn't even realize that he was in his own van today. So like I said, we usually get together on these for the manpower, and then I do all the wiring and startup and all that. So he's gonna stay behind by himself, do the dishwasher. We have a call here. Everybody dispersed because technically, from doing this so long and so many times, I can already see all the little issues that pile up, and that turns into extra hours. So that's why when we quote, obviously you want to quote for, I don't know, at least a couple hours over, because things always come up. So we quoted a job that, you know, usually something like one or the other condenser or an evaporator, it's going to be half a day. If it was both systems, I mean, technically we could, with more people, do it in half a day, but it's going to be like an all day type of deal. But the bolts are rusted, so we can't even take them out. There's not really room to kind of just force them out or anything like that. So the bolts are no bueno. We're gonna have to get into the drop ceiling crawl to the end of the walk-in box, get on top of it, crawl to the end, and have somebody either hold it or see if we can loosen it enough to cut the bolts or something, so we can drop the old one down. And then, you know, we'll be able to mount the new one. The wiring was a complete mess as well. I should have known better. And then this one had an outlet in the back that we kind of missed. So I need to go get an outlet to mount on the back. The outlet powers a drain line heater, which I looked into the next one, and I believe that we're running the freezer, or both, but the freezer drain line heater and hooked up to the cooler evaporator for power. So I got to make sure that's hooked up, and I would rather use an outlet box instead of cutting it up and then running it, you know, like that with wire nuts or something. So we're going to try and do it that way. I need to go get the outlet. I need to go get a couple of fittings. I forgot that this one, at least, I don't know if the other one was the same. Pretty sure it was. We need a reducer. They went from, I need a reducer from 7/8 to 5/8. I didn't take that into account. I really wanted to use press tools. So I'm going to call my Johnstone right now, get it over. It should be here in 2 days. So we're going to get everything together. We're not able to finish it today just because the rusted bolts, the bad wiring, the couplings, all that's going to take time, and I'd rather not rush through it to where other things start happening or we got frustrated, all that stuff. And I understand if you guys are out there, you're doing this. Like if I was working for somebody, this would not be an excuse, or I'd be fired or whatever. I get it, but this is essentially my company, and instead of dealing with that headache, right, write down everything that we need, that we oversaw, that we didn't catch during our initial quote, and go get that and put it in and have it prepped just to be like in and out. The other reason is it's a hospital. Downtime for them would be way too long. They're not going to empty that walk-in box out. I'm not going to be responsible for a patient's as far as like their food and that health, or that part of it. So I'm not going to be responsible for food going bad or being not at temp. So I told them I could shut it off for an hour or so, get all the wiring prepped, ripped out what wasn't being used. I ripped out a switch too that they had. They had a switch for the fans, not necessary on that one. Figured out and labeled our wiring, and then just wired it back in so that it would turn on. And then make sure we found our breakers, you know, all the little things that we can eliminate the day of. Just come in, shut it off, rip out everything, have the new box with the new outlet ready to wire in, and then just cut the line set, put it in and all that. So super simple when we come back. So people always tell me like, oh, you're wasting a trip to come back and this and that. Like, not really. It's billed by time. So like, if I do half the time today and half the time, you know, tomorrow or the next day, it's still the same time. Like there's nothing to it. And we travel so much that I'm always on the road down the street from one of these places. So like, it's not a big deal. And the other guys had some calls that were queuing up. So like I said, the dishwasher, my uncle had some out of town calls. I was like, you know what, just go take care of those today before the weekend comes up. So we're not on call this weekend, and just organize it. This is the way we run it. This is the way we avoid headaches, and we have not had long days. I haven't worked a weekend in a while, and we've not had frustrations. I used to get so beat down and frustrated at the end of the day for stupid things. And one of them was at the hospital where we couldn't figure something out, and it was a loose wire or something one time after we changed out I believe one of the condensers or something. but this was when I had started. So like, I get all those flashbacks when I start seeing little things here and there piling up. I'm like, you know what? Let's calm down. Let's take a step back, reevaluate it, prep it a little further, and then we'll be back another day. And that way their walk-in box is not down the whole day. It's just down for an hour or two. And then when we come back, it's down for another hour or two. And then like, it's a win-win for everybody. So we'll be back. Yeah, I just wanted to say, you know, my pops is out there doing calls already. He's not up to he's not up to working all day yet. The strength is not there, this and that, but he surprised the hell out of me by being present with us, with my brother or with me, for little things here and there. And now he's running a call, so he's doing well. Hopefully we can get this done soon. I need to order my parts, and then we'll be back. Semi-messy. Got the little makeshift Band-Aid. I need some tape. Alright guys, pretty simple change out. I wasn't going to record too much because there's everybody there. We're just trying to get the work done. So basically, I don't know how I'm going to cut this video up. I might have to do a little interlude in between or explanation to show both. But we basically had to do a little preparation for some wiring and little things here and there. The screws were way too rusted out, the bolts holding the evaporator, so we tried to get somebody to go up there. One of our guys volunteered. It's a little drop ceiling, but you're basically getting on top of the walk-in, and then you have to kind of crawl to the end because there's beams, piping, all this stuff. I've done it myself before, and it's not fun. Like I've done that before. I'm usually the skinniest guy that does it, or at the time I was the new guy, the helper. So I've actually done that one before, and you know, hats off to him. I appreciate him doing that, because I was doing, whenever we do refrigeration stuff, especially change outs, installs, I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to get my hands on everything right. I do the brazing or the pressing. In this instance, I do all the wiring. I got to make sure that, you know, a lot of these are retrofitted. They're not going to be, you know, just simple, you know, like for like. There's going to be some differences, so I got to deal with all that. And if somebody can help me do, you know, the ugly work, the nasty work, the lifting, the muscle work, you know, I appreciate that tremendously. So he was up there for a bit. We could not get those bolts out. As a matter of fact, they have a little infestation type of deal going on. I didn't go up there. I didn't want to take pictures or anything like that. We made them aware of it because he said he could not even stand being up there too long because of the smell. So like once we knew we couldn't get those bolts out, came back down, just cut them out, you know, knocked them out, broke them loose, got everything out. Then we just went ahead and mounted our new stuff, our new hardware, and it's gonna, the new coils are a lot smaller. So I don't think I showed the final from the front. If I do get to go back, I'll show it, but it's gonna be off center a little bit just because I'm not gonna do another penetration. I'm not gonna reroute a lot of the piping. It's a hospital. I reuse the original line set just because it's gonna be a pain in the ass to rerun that, and I don't want to be in that area if he said that he couldn't even stand the smell. So, you know, reusing the line set, cleaned it up as best we could, pressed it in, and then went from there. So it's going to be off center a little bit. It's just what we're working with, and they're not going to want the walking down that long. So, you know, that's all it is. Simple. Did our vacuum, didn't take much of a vacuum, and then you know, it's pretty simple change out. The only brazing I did have to do, I did it outside. I did it in my van. It was because I ordered, and I'm pretty upset with my Johnstone. I ordered a reducer because I didn't realize that we had a reducer on this line set, and because we had to step down the 5/8. They do sell reducers to press. I really wanted to try that out. They told me it'll be here in a few days. I ordered it last week, still not here, never got a call back. So this is like 5-6 days later. So whenever they call back, and it's supposed to be like a 1 to 2 day, at most 3 to 4 days. So whenever they do call back, I'm just gonna tell them to keep that crap. So funny enough, RLS did reach out because they're doing like a survey of just people that buy in general, because we do buy their fittings, I do have their training and all that. And they asked me who the supplier was, if they need to talk to them, and I'm like, you need to go talk to them because... All right, guys, so it's after work already. My phone literally died. We got into, or not died, overheated, because we got into the 90s already. It's still February, and it got hot. My phone didn't like it. My phone turned off, didn't let me use it for a while. So here I am after work, picking up my kid. I have HVAC nights after this. So if you guys haven't yet, what are you doing? Go follow, subscribe, HVAC nights on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You know, that's me, Jake, and Curtis just chopping it up, kicking back, you know, having a good time. We have guests that just pop in. We love interacting and hearing stories from everybody that's watching, because everybody's out in this field doing things, seeing crazy things, having a good time, telling these stories and chatting. So check that out if you haven't. Now, as far as what I was saying is, you know, this unit change out, in and out, pressed it. That was the easiest point. I am disappointed in my Johnstone because they never got me the part that I needed. We did braze and reuse some of well, basically the reducer from the original, because I hadn't realized all that. So got that in. It's a hospital, but it's not as nice as it should be, even though we try to keep everything clean, but it is what it is. Hope you got something out of it. Didn't show too much. It was just a day in the life. You know, my pops is there. He was helping us on this one. He's been trying to get back into it. He's doing really well, actually running his own calls now. The strength is not all there yet, so we are helping him with that. And the tech tip for today, I had my gloves on the entire time. I took them off for like a minute, and I ended up catching myself on the steel brush that I use to clean the copper piping when it's really bad. So I nicked the tip of my finger, and then when I was doing the wiring, because I always do the wiring last, and as I was wiring it in, it was a pretty simple unit to wire up. It's a walk-in cooler, nothing crazy, but it did have a relay. So that relay that you see in there on top is a 2-speed relay essentially. So when it's off, it goes into low speed, and then when it needs to call and it starts getting warm in there, it'll go into high speed. You know, it'll regulate all that. And when I was trying to cut something, I think I was cutting the whip and getting that conduit ran around the back, knife chopped off actually in the side my knuckle. So hospitals have really good band-aids. So that's been on for most of the day. So like I said, hope you got something out of it. Hope you enjoyed it. It was pretty simple. That's just, you know, the stuff that I see, the old equipment we work on, and they working with their budget, because it is end of the year, beginning of the year is when we have I don't want to say like it completely slows down, but people start worrying about how much you're spending. So they had put in the condenser. They wanted us to wait a couple months, and then we put in the evaporator. That happens pretty often with us. It's not a big deal, as long as it's not years apart, a year apart, something like that. I have no issue working with certain customers. This is a long time loyal customer, so you know, we took care of them, and that thing dropped like nothing. Once we put that new evaporator in, it worked perfect, because that condenser, that compressor was doing so well even with the old evaporator. The thing is, it started overheating and this and that, because we had micro leaks. We had fans that weren't working properly, fan blades that were all messed up, a lot of different issues with that evaporator and the airflow and all that. The coils messed up. So, you know, once we got that, it worked great. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys.